Jake, you asked me what my favorite experience was, and I'm going to tell you right now. Alright, so the most recent favorite experience that I can think of at the moment in my mind is probably when I created a piece of art. Whoop, hold on, Jake. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Kyle, you're super talented. You do so many arts. You do all the arts. I mean, look at that right there, right? That's arts that I did, right? Well, Jake, kind of yes and no. A lot of the art that I have done recently has been things like photoshopping this here and there, doing thumbnails or wallpapers, or, painting that a little bit. But I haven't really, sat down and actually tried to create something from scratch before. At least not recently. So I've been getting that itch, the itch to actually start creating something. And I've always loved Bob Ross, and I've actually been watching some Bob Ross recently. For those of you who know Bob Ross, you know what you're supposed to do when you watch Bob Ross, and that is to paint along with him. He always encourages you to paint along with him. He gives you a list of the colors, and he's like, hey, let's go painting together. Now, one big problem for me, at least, is I don't really paint in real life. I mean, yes, I did do that, but that's pretty much the only painting I've ever done in real life, other than the things I was forced to paint in college, like the color wheel. That was horrible. Anyway, I digress. My point is, I really wanted to sit down and actually create something from scratch, blank canvas, go to town. Now, in theory, this sounds like a really good idea. Something simple, just sit down and make something. However, Jake, it was not exactly the easiest thing I've ever done. Now, I really can't do well with people, and you can even see what I'm talking about if you look at the banner up on top of YouTube, and you can see that while it at least resembles a human, it's not all that great. So I decided to start off my dive into something a little bit easier, which could be arguably easier or not, but to me, it was easier. I did some scenery work. Alright, so I'm going to reveal it to you guys now, okay? For those of you who haven't already seen it. This right here, this is what I drew. Looks pretty nice, doesn't it? The thing that I really liked about doing this, it was actually the process of getting here. The actual doing of it. I mean, it turned out really good, and I like it. I mean, there are definitely things that I have a problem with when I look at it, but overall, my point is, the journey of getting here was really cool. I was able to sit down, put on some music, and just kind of explore. Now, granted, I didn't have all the brushes I wish I would have had. I was using a very old tablet that doesn't even have working pressure sensitivity on it. This here was the tablet I used. It was a pretty terrible old tablet that I'm trying to keep the glare off of so you guys can see it. But it's not a very good tablet. It's really cruddy. But the point is, I was able to take something that I had for over 8 years ago and able to just sit down and enjoy myself with it. Now, I've always been into art, and I've always classified myself at least slightly into the category of artist. I think, a lot of my stuff is more of a graphical design than actual creation and art, but they all flow in the same vein, or at least I'd like to think they do, and I do think of myself in general as a creative person. One of the biggest struggles I've always had with art and drawing has always been, first of all, my hesitation to sit down and just do it. Just look past every obstacle that I have and literally just do it. Just 100% sit down, put pen to paper, and keep going. Now, the second biggest hurdle that I've had is my hands. And I have really ruined my hands over these years. Between working at factories and stuff like that, I have pain in my hands all the time. Now, this is not something that I've shared with, pretty much anybody in the past, but my hands, I don't have carpal tunnel, my hands are not numb, they just are constantly in pain. So holding a pen for a long period of time doing any sort of art really hurts. But I guess the point I'm trying to get to, the whole plot of this entire story, is I did choose to sit down and look past the problems. I sat down, decided, you know what? It doesn't matter if this hurts my hand. It doesn't matter if I don't know what to draw. It doesn't matter if I can't draw people. I'm going to have some fun. And I did. I did have a lot of fun. And I really want to do it again. Am I going to be the next Bob Ross? I highly doubt it. But the point is, I found something that I'm really enjoying spending some time on, working on, and just having the fun of the experience. And the best part about art is you can't get worse. Everything you do is a learning experience. No matter if you're making something out of your head, if you're copying a picture, it doesn't matter. It's all a learning experience. You create, you look at what you've created, and you kind of learn as you go. So, you're really bad at shading, start drawing a lot of things that require shading, practice with it, and you'll get better at it. And that's something that I'm trying to apply to myself. So, Jake, I guess I used the entire video to basically answer your question, but it was something I really wanted to share with you guys because, a lot of times all that people ever see is an artist's finished product, and they don't really get to see the whole transitioning period from start to finish, from blank canvas to masterpiece, or at least to what I finished. And that transition, that period, that time from start to finish was, to me, the best part of the entire process. And that's the experience that I genuinely liked, I genuinely appreciated, and I genuinely want to replicate. So anyway, that's what I'm super excited about right now. Jake, what are you super excited about right now? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, you'll be fine. Probably.